Kendrick for another Houses to Homes episode, and oh my goodness, this Airbnb flip is amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, I couldn't believe that it was the same house when I walked back in.
Because you didn't gag?
It smelled great.
Yeah, the previous owner was a smoker, which is one of the hardest things to get out, but with the right contractor, which we had, they were able to help that out.
I was really conscious of it when we walked in, and I didn't smell a thing.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's quite the transformation.
Yes, no, it really is. Like, I feel like one of the bigger transformations that I've seen you guys do.
You do say that every time.
I do. Every time it just blows me away.
We bought it to flip it, but we call this house our love story because we couldn't sell it. Like we did it all, and then we were like, the pandemic hit, and then like, I'm sorry, Mom, when she watches this, but we were like, oh my God, what a great place to stick my mom when she goes in town. We can run it as an Airbnb, we can throw Mom in here. It's like 10 minutes from our house.
We love you, Judy.
We do run it as an Airbnb, and we love that part. It's been a great house to us in that way. But also, Sebastian calls it MidMod's house. That's great. And he thinks he's visiting MidMod when he comes over
every time. It's a love story house. It's MidMod's house.
Yeah.
It's an incredible house.
Thank you.
So many Mid-Century Modern elements of this house, and I know you probably had some decisions to make, like what things to keep, what things to not. So can you walk me through a few of those?
So some of the major pieces that we wanted to keep were the architecture just of the ranch style house itself, which we recruited the help of one of our friends, Tyler, to computer generate some custom wood elements to the exterior of the house.
That's where that came from. That was awesome. The wood paneling fight.
The wood paneling fight. We had a fight on the living room.
We did. I just didn't think it was gonna work. It was decrepit and it's brown. It's very brown.
Yeah.
And she said it's gotta go, and I said it's gotta stay. The good news with paneling is it's always something that you can paint later, but you can't ever take it back. And so I said, just leave it until we're completely done with the renovation and just trust me. I said, let's paint this and this and this. We painted the fireplace black, and we painted a few of the walls white, and it ended up being a really
Every
nice
time
contrast.
I came in here during the renovation, I was like, that thing's still looking at me. But then it like came together, and she 100%, I will fold on that one. I lost the fight. 100%, it's awesome. I think it actually makes the house.
Yeah,
I think so too.
It brings in such a natural element that I feel like is so important with the Mid-Century.
Well, Mid-Century is so interesting now because back in the day when they used all these woods, some of them have dated and some of them haven't dated, and then you have to bring in the right colors and textures and paint, and she can see that, but literally I can't because we bought another Mid-Century that you'll learn about. And I literally keep going in there because she's been pregnant and she had this baby, and I keep going in there and I'm like ruining babies. But I'm not ruining them because I'm like, I will ruin them in an email to my GC contractor, and then I'll think about it, and like 4 days later I'm like, please ignore everything I said. I think Sarah's gonna be back soon.
Sarah will be back soon and she'll fix it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know, and matching, like you said, those colors and those woods, and it's a hard thing to pull off, and it turned out incredibly. So
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the kitchen. The tile's blowing me away right now.
The Kit Kat tile.
The Kit Kat tile.
I almost pulled the trigger on some salmon pink tile and ended up with the safer route. And I really love how it ended up turning out.
If we would have known we were holding this house and we weren't gonna resell it, we would have made that pink for ourselves. But this was a better choice for resale.
Yeah, a little bit more neutral, a little bit safer, but still just so unique and so cool.
Yeah.
I love those floating shelves and just the light in the kitchen, and
You know, we removed this used to be a wall.
Right.
And there was a really narrow hallway into the kitchen. Because the square footage is so large, we were able to blow out all of the upper cabinets and do more of a open shelving concept and added additional storage in an island.
Because you still have tons of storage.
Tons of
Definitely.
Although she did complain about the budget in this kitchen. You did a good job with the budget.
Well, thank you. You know, when I'm given a Honda budget, like this is what you get.
This is not a Honda kitchen. I've driven a Honda. This is not a Honda kitchen. And no offense to Honda drivers, but it's still not a Honda.
It's not, yeah. I mean, it turned out beautifully.
I mean, I have a
thank you.
Honda.
Let's talk a little bit about the primary suite because that transformation was incredible. And I know you kept a few pieces that I wasn't sure if you were gonna keep or not, and it just turned out so cool. So what was your vision for that?
So what I loved about the primary suite and that I didn't want to change was I loved that there was an off-centered pendant in the main room that has 2 light switches where you can lay in bed and turn the light on and off. So we kept that. We kept the vaulted ceiling. And then the actual bathroom itself, we completely gutted and did an infinity drain and chose a mosaic tiles that goes throughout. And we did clay tile for the shower surround, which...
And clay tile is like, it's a designer thing. It's really cool. Every piece of tile is handmade.
Handmade.
I knew when we first saw the house that you were gonna do something incredible with that bathroom, with that walk-in shower.
It's nice when you have the additional square footage to be able to do some things that you don't typically get to do. Most bathrooms are the standard. I don't even know what the dimensions are for a standard bathroom.
Yeah, it was a great space to be. We were gifted a great primary suite. The bathroom was amazing. We were gifted that bed.
Yeah, the bed itself was left here.
Those are worth like $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah.
And I was like,
we're keeping it. Yes. So we put it in the basement. I cleaned it up and refinished it and brought it back up, reassembled it.
It's so cool. And it's got the built-in floating nightstand type look to it, which is just incredible.
I think it like completes the house.
It definitely does.
It really is that. And another thing I loved about this house, I'm literally like one of the biggest into nature people you'll ever meet. Like I just love being outside and I love nature. And every single bedroom has a separate exit to a deck. Every single one in the house.
Sliding glass door.
So that was so cool to me. And we have big plans for the outside. If we talk again in a year, this will all be different with Japanese gardens. Man, I'm pushing for a hot tub.
Yeah.
All sorts of things.
Okay.
But
well,
yeah,
like you said,
cool.
with nature, kind of just bringing the outside in, these giant floor-to-ceiling windows are just incredible throughout the house.
The lighting is another reason that I fell in love with this house for sure.
Okay, so what are some additional features about the house that you'd like to maybe talk up to a little bit?
So one of the areas of the house that Ashley and I went back and forth on was whether or not to move the laundry to the basement. Right now it's in a really inconvenient space. It's the transition area between the dining room and the bedrooms. But when we decided to run this as an Airbnb, we decided that it was more convenient for guests to be able to just do their laundry on the main floor. However, the transition between the dining room and the bedrooms, we wanted to make it more fluid and not have to see the laundry room if
Because it really does just sort of jump out at you.
It does. So I found this beautiful black sliding barn door that's more of a mid-century industrial style that can be closed off to create separate spaces. So it ended up being a win.
So the flooring, though, is incredible. It's something that I noticed that you changed. It was a little bit like a dark brownish kind of tile, if I remember.
Yeah, there was nothing underneath the flooring. It's not like, it wasn't that moment where
It was
you
all
like rip it
subfloor.
up and you're like, yes. And it stunk so
We
bad.
went,
This house
no.
stunk so bad. And we were like, oh my gosh, how does this house not stink anymore? We have to put all new flooring in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we did hardwoods throughout.
It's white
Except for the
oak.
bedrooms, we did carpet.
I love it too. I think she did a really good job of deciding to go super light on it. Because, you know, we almost went walnut because we like walnut, but it just darkens things up. And I think for this house, you almost need like this lightness. I love that about it.
And then let's talk a little bit more about the living room, just because it's such a beautiful space. It's so mid-century modern. What all did you guys do in there?
So we painted the brick. I usually don't like painting brick, but it was a dated color, so I went for a black fireplace, and I kept the natural shelving, and obviously the natural paneling that was the fight.
The house is so interesting because I feel like you really didn't have to do a lot with this house to realize how special it was.
Even though the square footage isn't huge, it has a very large footprint. It's 3 bedrooms, 3 full bathrooms, and
The architect was like so intentional on the functionality
absolutely.
of this house.
Every single area of the house is so functional, and it can accommodate 8 people very comfortably without forcing it.
All right, well, thank you so much for having us back over here. I was really excited to see this transformation. I'd seen some little pictures, and so I was really excited. It turned out incredibly.
Thank you.
And
We're excited to see you and bring you back because you've seen all of our projects and your approval does matter to us now.
mine and Sebastian's.
Yes.
You got the stamp of
For
approval
sure.
on this
Well,
one.
it's MidMod's
Absolutely.
house.
It's MidMod's house now.
No, it's incredible. It really is. So thank you
you.
guys.
Thanks for looking.
Appreciate you.